And just talking about this pay, because it's a very, very, I guess, sensitive issue for anybody to, ask for a better salary or trying to understand what's my salary should look like. And as a new grad, really, like we have no clue, right, about what is
Right.
appropriate or not. Because everybody, when you're in the beginning, nobody wants to give you a great salary. And, we shouldn't
Right.
expect that either. But what would be
Right.
places to, I mean, you said pay scale, things like that. Like for me, I think about just asking friends, my faculty around, like if
Mhm.
I have a question, I mean, our professors were there for us the whole time and they still will be there for us even when we graduate. So, I remember my first jobs, like when I didn't really know what to expect, I just asked my professor, like, I got an offer or I hear they paying $35. Should I take it or not? Or something like that. Is that okay? Do you think it's a okay idea?
Absolutely. I
Hmm.
think asking the schools,
Yeah.
especially if you're moving from one area of the country to another one, reach out to the hygiene schools that are closest to the metroplex or the region where you're
Hmm.
wanting to work, and
Hmm.
find out what the average rate is. Because
Hmm.
people, you don't want to ask somebody, well, how much are you making?
Hmm.
But if you maybe ask the faculty, what was the average starting rate for
Hmm. Right.
RDH graduates,
Right.
they'll give you that information. And then the hygiene societies as well.
Hmm.
If you find your local component of
Hmm.
the Dental Hygiene Association, they'll be happy to share that information with you as well.
Awesome. So it really seems like information is out there for us to grab if we want to. Hmm.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like I said, I mean, we're more than happy to help you with that too.
Hmm. Okay.
So I have people email me all the time from different parts of the country who are looking at maybe relocating and looking at
Hmm.
Austin as a
Okay.
place to relocate. And I'll tell them what
Hmm.
a new graduate hygienist or what a 5-year
Hmm.
veteran of the field can
Okay.
look to make in our market.
Okay. All
Yep.
right. Oof, so much information out there. Okay. So we're not alone. We're not alone.
No, 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 no. And again, I mean, you can negotiate maybe a starting hourly rate,
Hmm.
and then ask, see if you can do like a performance review after a
Hmm.
certain period of time, be it 3 months or 6 months, and see, you know, have your contributions to the practice
Hmm.
been, have they been changed? Is there a
Hmm.
way that you can, solicit feedback or, any sort of constructive criticism? I mean, you're definitely going to want to make sure that you're open to constructive criticism. You
Awesome.
don't want somebody yelling at you, but if somebody gives you,
Hmm.
some feedback, you're definitely going to want to be able to absorb it and make
Hmm.
some corrective actions so that you
Great.
can
Great.
stay a contributing
Hmm.
member of the team.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So, thanks for all this information. I mean, it's been really, really helpful
Yeah.
already. I'm
Yeah.
really, I know that this is empowering a lot of new grads. Now we have a little bit of about 10 minutes, over 10 minutes left. And I know some other things that
Okay.
I really, really wanted to bring up is the taxes, the forms that we get, like
That
1099
is
versus W-4. I mean, please walk us through that.
that's my next slide.
Yeah, thank you. We're on the same
Yeah,
page.
that's my next
Amazing.
slide. Yes. So
Hmm.
yeah, the next slide is the different IRS forms to keep in mind. So the W-4, you complete that to let an office know or an employer know what taxes to be withheld. The W-2 is what you get at the end of the year with your annual salary and your taxes that were withheld. And
Hmm.
then the 1099 is something that is sent if you have been classified as an independent contractor.
Right.
And that is no taxes have been withheld, and it is your income. Now, something to keep in mind with the 1099 is you don't have to legally send out a 1099 unless the wage threshold of $600 has been met. So if
Okay.
you go out and work in a dental
Hmm.
office and you make
Right.
$300, they may not send you a 1099, but you still have to account for that income. That is still reportable income.
I
So
see.
if you're going to work as an independent contractor, you're going to have to be meticulous in your record keeping as far as where you worked, how
Okay.
much money you made,
Wow.
and then the good rule of thumb
Hmm.
is to set aside, if you are being considered an independent contractor, set aside 30%
Of
of
your
your
income.
pay to pay all of your taxes, all of your employment taxes.
All
Because
right.
if you're working as an independent contractor versus an employee, no payroll taxes are being withheld and matched by an employer. That is all the employee's responsibility. All of that responsibility falls on the independent contractor.
I see.
And yeah, and so the thing to keep in mind too with the independent contractor versus the employee, you know, there's about 5 different agencies that have input on this: the federal IRS, the federal Department of Labor, your state workforce commissions, as well as your state dental regulations. So for example, in Texas, the Texas Dental Practice Act states that dental professionals working underneath a dentist are employees. So that's pretty cut and dry, but there's other labor laws in the state of Texas that kind of make it a little bit gray. So it's really a gray area. You know, if you work with CAD Dental Staffing, if you work with us, you are considered an employee. We will pay you. And the good thing about not being classified as an independent contractor is, when are you going to get paid? Are they going to mail you a check? Are you getting paid at the end of the day? You know, we've heard from people who, you know, they have to kind of chase their paycheck.
Oh, I see.
And yeah, and you know, especially for working interviews, which is another thing that I really want to talk about too, is working interviews. You know, if you're interested in an office, try to do a working interview. You know, an office is probably going to want to do a day or two, but ideally it's better to do it for, you know, it'd be best to encourage a few weeks, because you're going to want to see the team dynamic in a variety of circumstances. I mean, if you have a 3-day working interview, those 3 days, you know, there were no technical issues, all the patients showed up on time, you know, so you're not necessarily having to see something maybe happening on a bad day, you know, but if you can work somewhere for, you know, 3 or 4 weeks, you'll be able to see that. But if you aren't independent, or if you're doing working in interviews, or you're doing them as independent contractors or employees, and if you work through a staffing agency like ours, you'll be doing them as employees. But for people who do a lot of working interviews, if you're doing them as independent contractors, again, you have to just be meticulous in your record keeping. And again, set aside 30% of all wages to cover your taxes.
All right. So I would never play with this rule, just 30%, whatever comes in. Obviously, in our paycheck or whatever, it says the whole sum is going to come in. But maybe, I mean, so this is a book that I read. It's called Profit First, and it kind of shows you how to allocate things. But anyhow, there are many different bank accounts, and one of them is for taxes. So every time this person does business, he cuts out of the, you know, the business that comes in a certain percentage to say, this is my tax, and I'm going to have always enough money to pay my taxes. So maybe there's something to implement. But thank you so much for reminding us that, and that you might not even get that 1099 under $600. So, you know, don't try to think like, oh, you know, I'm good. You know, maybe you actually have more taxes to pay than you think you do. Great.
Because you do not want to end up having an IRS audit. Because that is just going to be a nightmare. That's just going to be a nightmare. So yeah, so working interviews, you know, again, if you can do them through staffing agencies like ours, and we'll negotiate your, you know, if you're going to do a working interview, the other thing I strongly encourage is make sure that you negotiate your hourly rate for the working interview. And if you feel really strongly about being paid as an employee, show us a W-4 and just hand it to the practice. You can do that. You know, you can definitely do that. So, but again, you know, if you're an employee, somebody is withholding payroll taxes on your behalf. And if you're an independent contractor, no payroll taxes, no federal withholding, no Social Security taxes, no Medicare taxes, none of that is being withheld. And if you're an employee, your Social Security and Medicare taxes is about 15%. And then the employer matches your 15%. But if you don't, that's where you have to do your 30%, because you have to do the employer's portion and the employee's portion of those payroll taxes.
I see. And quickly, can I ask you a question? So a lot of us, you know, new grads do working interviews, right, to get the job. Do we, you know, ask for pay at the end of the day? I know you briefly touched upon that, but do we wait a certain amount of time? Like, what's the general rule?
I really think it depends. If it's a one-day working interview, I would request getting paid at the end of the day. But if it's
Okay.
going to go on for for a week or two, then
Yeah.
I would make sure you find out,
Uh-huh.
should you expect to be paid weekly or
Okay.
bi-weekly or
Okay.
monthly or
Okay.
semi-monthly? I would go ahead and just make sure that you
Uh-huh.
have that understood from the
Mm-hmm.
beginning. And
Okay.
you don't have to. You can just say, when can I expect to be paid?
Mm-hmm.
When,
Yep.
and it might just be when everybody else in the office is paid. They
Okay.
might
Okay.
have a payroll that they do,
Uh-huh.
on their own. I
Okay.
know that for us, for the CAT dental staffing and for the dental auxiliary service
Right.
team, we pay everybody every week,
Okay.
every
Okay.
Friday through direct
Uh-huh.
deposit.
I see. All right. And I mean, seems like honestly, like using a staffing agency is awesome because you guys already figured this out and really walk, whoever is the candidate through the process, and you make sure,
Mhm.
that we have enough taxes, or the employer is making sure that they're doing their part. So, if anybody
Right.
is interested, I mean, please find Audra, and please just find a staffing agency as well. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
learning process too. I mean, as a new grad, it's really hard to know the A to Z about how to be in a job situation. This is just one component, but seems like a
Mhm.
staffing agency really can help you a lot.
It can. And even if you have questions, even if you
Mhm,
don't want to, even if you would prefer to
mhm.
not sign up with us, that's fine.
Yeah,
We're more
yeah,
than
yeah.
happy to answer any questions you have. And again,
Mhm,
you can email us at
mm,
recruiting at
yeah,
CAD,
yeah.
dentalstaffing.com.
Okay. Simple.
Yeah.
CAD, dentalstaffing.com. Just find that. And, I see, I mean, Audra, obviously, for just being here shows that she's so committed to helping us dental professionals being successful, making sure that we have the right job and do the right thing and get the right pay. So, please find people like that. They're all over the place. We just need to ask for a little bit of help, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And even if I don't know the answer, I'm more than happy to try to find it for you.
Yeah. Oh, you're so
For
nice. Thank
sure.
you so much for
Of
suggesting
course.
that. All right. So,
Of course.
anybody has any questions? I mean, sometimes we have chats coming. If not, that's okay. If you have questions, there's a chat function, and you can tell us the question right now, because we have Audra right here who's sharing all her knowledge about, staffing agencies. Now, the last thing I would like to just ask on representing this new grad group is, can we contact the staffing agency before we graduate saying, hey, I'm going to graduate in May. I
Mhm.
have almost my resume ready. What is the
Mhm.
procedure to be with your company or something like that?
Absolutely.
Really? Okay.
Absolutely. We actually went up to one of the schools here in the area.
Mm-hmm.
I think 3 weeks ago, and
Mm-hmm.
interviewed all of the graduating
Mm-hmm.
hygienists. And
Yeah.
we went ahead and kind of did, a little bit of like a mock interview, but we
Mm-hmm.
did get them, signed up with us so that the minute they
Yeah.
have their RDH
On
license,
Monday.
they
Yeah.
can go out and work.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So
So yeah,
really,
you can reach
everybody
out
to
to us
start.
beforehand as well.
Mm-hmm. All right. So yeah, don't wait until the last minute. Get proactive before you graduate. I know there's a million things you have to do before you graduate, which is first of all passing the boards and make sure you get your license, to make sure you graduate on time. It does, all of that. But also finding the right job is big deal. I mean, this is our career. This is our life now. Mm-hmm.
Exactly, exactly. And you're going to want to make sure that find a dentist that's going to support you, in
Mm-hmm.
your professional goals, and really invest, like you were saying, Claire, in good quality instruments and good
Mm-hmm.
quality ergonomics and
Mm-hmm.
chairs, and
Mm-hmm.
definitely make sure that you have loops.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, a lot of offices that we see now, they don't use the overhead lights anymore, so they
Uh-huh.
really are need hygienists to show up with loops with the headlight.
Awesome.
And it
Yeah.
makes a huge difference on the
Yeah.
body,
Yes,
overall.
I heard. I mean, I graduated with loops already, but I heard for those who were not wearing loops and now who wear loops is night and day.
Right. Oh, it makes such a huge difference. And I mean, you can feel it in your shoulders and in
Mm-hmm.
your back,
Yep.
just
Yeah.
all
Here, the
over.
neck. Yeah, all of that. All
all
right.
over.
All right. Hey, Audra, there's just one thing I would love to end this with, which is the quote you have from Dr. Seuss. Would you mind sharing that with us?
I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
It's my favorite. Let's see, let me
Uh-huh.
get to it fast. It is from
Yes.
Oh, the Places You Will Go,
All right. All
which is
right.
the greatest, best piece of advice you can give to anybody. But you have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself in any direction you choose. You're
Yeah.
on your own and you know what you know. You're the guy who will decide where you'll go. Oh, the place you go.
I love it. If I could summarize, that means you're just in control. Like you have a brain, you have some shoes, you just make it work.
You get to steer yourself in any direction you choose. And the thing is, you guys have got this. I mean,
Uh-huh.
hygiene is such a great profession.
Uh-huh.
It's such a great career.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, really, in this labor market, in this tight labor market, there is no reason for anybody to be unhappy in their job. There's
Mm-hmm.
so many great offices out there looking. So if somebody's unhappy in their position, they can
Mm-hmm.
put on those shoes, steer a new direction.
Well, thank you so much for being also motivating to us, not just sharing us information. And Shelly came in late and she said, "Oh, I missed the beginning. Are you going to share this recording?" And definitely I will. It's going to be on the Real RDH Live group and, emails and everything, because I really feel like all this information is needed. So Shelly says thank you. And,
You're welcome, Sally.
I would just love to say thank you on behalf of others, Audra, who will listen to this, who will watch this, who will learn from you, because it means a lot. Carolina says precious tips today. Thank you as well. It
Oh,
really
you're
means
more
a
than
lot
welcome.
for anybody to hold our hand at this crucial moment when we feel like we're jumping off the cliff, basically.
Yes, no, you're not there. We are your big trampoline at the bottom. We
Mhm.
will help you bounce right back.
Uh-huh. All right. Thank you so much, Audra, again
You're
for this
welcome.
wonderful time spending time with our new grads and being that
Good luck,
motivational
everybody.
wisdom. All right. So we'll
Yes.
see you again at under one roof, and we'll support you any
Yes.
way we can, and we'll just make sure we share this information.
Awesome. Well, y'all have a great day. Thanks so much for sharing some time with me today. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you again, Audra. Stay warm
All
in
right.
Texas. I'm sure you're pretty
Oh,
hot and toasty there.
not a problem.
Not a problem. I'm here at the East Coast. It's
Not
pretty
a problem at
cold and
all.
windy and rainy. So, all right.
It's 85, so we're doing good.
All right. Have a great day. Mhm.
Claire, thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.